Where are all the Gruev haters now? They seem to have disappeared from social media. What a performance against Nottingham Forest on Friday night. Now, Marty Bum, Twitter poster says, how all the Gruev haters gone quiet. Absolutely top draw performance. Welcome back to Where Whites Walk. This is 20 minutes of Leeds United chat, where we look at some of the good, bad and indifferent social media takes from all Leeds United games from. Chris is incredibly well followed on Twitter. How are you, Chris?
I'm not too bad, thank you. How are you?
All good here. We've got Sam, of course, who travels up and down the country following Leeds everywhere. How are you, Sam?
I'm fine tonight, thank you.
And, of course, we've got one of the youngest up-and-coming Leeds journalists in Jacob Dayton as well. How are you, Jacob?
All good. Buzzing after Friday, so yeah, all good.
Absolutely. So we've assembled an all-star cast. Let's get straight into it, shall we then? Chris, were you a Gruev hater?
Yes, I was. But now I'm not. It's funny how 90 minutes can change an opinion, isn't it?
He was phenomenal, wasn't he? I think before the game, when the team list was announced, everyone piled onto that, saying Farke doesn't know what he's doing. But look at that. I mean, that heat map itself is absolutely phenomenal, Chris. Yeah, where did that come from, that performance?
I have no idea. But I think before the game, when I looked at the team sheet, I was again very concerned going with a defensive midfield option against a weak team like Forest. But no, he surprised me. I had a joke with one of my friends that he must have read all the negative comments and decided he was going to turn up.
I'd imagine, because you're obviously huge on Twitter and you have lots of Leeds fans following you, you've had a few pelters.
I've actually managed to avoid that. I've sort of just gone under the shadows a little bit.
Right then, Jacob, in your journalistic view, footballing wise, what does Gruev give us in that performance that he perhaps has been missing in previous ones?
I just think a good passing range. Obviously, the 2 assists were brilliant. That ball over the top for Bogle for the first one, and then the amount of time that Forest gave him for that second one for Calvert-Lewin was. We finally seen what he can do. I was sort of a bit sceptical whether he would be one of the players that would struggle to make the jump up into the Premier League. And obviously, based off one performance, I'm not going to say that he's been amazing in the Premier League. He hasn't, but on Friday he proved that midfield spot could be his. With Stackhouse injured, obviously, and Tanaka not performing as well as he has been, I don't see why Gruev should be dropped.
Sam, your thoughts on it? I mean, first of all, I've got to throw in there, some other fans of other clubs were saying, come on, Leeds fans, calm down a bit. Forest were pretty bad, weren't they? Was it that Forest were bad, or were Leeds just that good?
A bit of both. I thought the game would be a lot tighter. And I probably put that down to Dyche, to be honest. Because the last 15 minutes, when they actually had a go, they looked decent enough. I just think that the setup all wrong. We went to play for a point or to nick it in the last few minutes, and then when we scored a couple, that was their game plan out the window. But when it did go forward, it looked okay. But they looked pretty mediocre. If it's between us and Forest, we would fancy ourselves. West Ham are looking strong at the minute, worryingly so, but they haven't really been playing too many top teams.
Okay. Let's focus on other players, shall we, for a second then, and leave Gruev aside. What about Bogle, Chris? I mean, there were some people who might have suggested at the start of the year that perhaps it was going to be, of all the players, whether they suit the Premier League or not, maybe he had the biggest question mark over him. I think he's answered that, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's so good at going forward. And I think one of the questions about him has been sometimes his defensive frailties, especially when you come up against some of the bigger names in the Prem. But again, I think it's something that he's really impressed me with is just his ability to go forward, to beat a man. He's got pace and his goal as well. I love the fact that he was just up there playing in the number 9 role for no reason whatsoever. But, it worked and it was a well-taken goal. And I think he's definitely been one of my standout performers this season.
Yeah, absolutely. He got the plaudits for man of the match potentially as well. Jacob, on last week's show, Chris and Sam were debating about Okafor and whether actually he is as good as perhaps we were hoping to be. he had a good game against Forest, I think, as well. Certainly from the game I was watching. What's your view of him overall, though, as someone who obviously perhaps has followed him before and watches all the stats?
Yeah, I think we saw the best of him on Friday, to be fair, and I think Goodmanson helped a lot with that. The way that he would overlap and progress forward, but I thought Okafor was a lot more confident at taking people on. Obviously, in the right place at the right time for his goal, well taken finish. And I think he's always had that. It's just been difficult. Obviously, coming into a new team, lack of confidence. Obviously, when things haven't been going well, he hasn't been playing. But I think we did see the best of him Friday night, and hopefully more to come from him.
Okay. And finally, Sam, on Justin, words for him. He's a player I really like watching.
Yeah,
he's a bit underrated, isn't
he? Yeah, when he came in, we thought, well, he's just a backup for Bogle, but he's, to be honest, for the right back position, it would be 50-50 which one you would start. And he's a lot more versatile, playing the left side. And when I looked at the sheet, I wondered how they were actually going to accommodate him into the system, but it worked well. You have to give far credit for that. Between him and Gruev working on that system, I didn't think it would work, but it clearly did. So, but he's a great player and steady. Nothing too spectacular from him, but sometimes that's what you need. Just somebody's good, steady 7 out of 8 every game.
Yeah. We've got 3 tough away games now coming up, of course, and we're recording this just before the Chelsea trip on Tuesday night. And then, of course, we've got FA Cup in Birmingham, and then we return to Birmingham the week after with case Aston Villa. Just focusing on the Cup game a second, Chris. Where does the Cup sit in terms of priorities, do you think, for Leeds fans? I mean, Farker might have a different view of it. Where should it fit? I mean, Birmingham are a decent outfit at home. They've only lost 1 game at St Andrews all season. This isn't going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, my honest opinion, I'm really not fussed about the Cup. This is the season where we ensure we stay up. Next season, we build on that and maybe we can have a cup run. But realistically, are we going to win the FA Cup this season? No. And it gives those smaller clubs like Birmingham an opportunity to progress, doesn't it, if we don't make it through. So for me, I'd happily get knocked out. My priority is to stay in the Prem, and I think fixture congestion with that isn't going to help. So that's my opinion, but I know a lot of other people have different opinions on that.
Sam, you've grown up with the FA Cup, and Leeds have got a good heritage with it. Is Chris talking nonsense?
No, he's not talking nonsense. I can understand how staying in the league has to be the priority. I would say that this year the squad's stronger. Where we suffered in previous seasons when we put in the fringe players, they just simply weren't good enough. But if you look at what we have on the bench now, Nanto, Mecha, Burnau, we could rest 5 or 6 players. Dan James coming back is a good chance to get a bit of fitness in him. We could rest 7 or 8 players and still put out a pretty strong team. So yes, I agree with Chris. The league has to be the priority, but I still think we can put out a good enough team to beat Birmingham. And what it does do, it gives these fringe players a chance to try and stick a claim. I just don't think we should write it off.
Okay. Jacob, there are some Leeds fans that are saying, look, could care less about Birmingham this weekend. It's all about beating Chelsea on Tuesday, such as the rivalry between the two clubs. As a young fan, do you get an understanding of the dislike there is for Chelsea from Leeds fans?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've experienced the Chelsea games in the past and stuff, and read up on the history, and I saw a good documentary that a Leeds fan put together before the previous fixture, which was definitely got everybody up for it. And it's going to be a really important game. I think we always give them a good game because of how much it means to people, the fans, and obviously the older fans who have grown up with that rivalry and stuff. So I don't see why we can't give them a good game going there. And like Chris and Sam have said, be nice to have a cup run, but the league is the priority, and our main focus should be on momentum on Chelsea on Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, if the Man United hatred is there, Sam, where is the hatred for Chelsea? Is it
Well,
red paper between them, or?
Oh, well, I put the Man United hatred at 100, Chelsea around about 85.
Okay.
You know, to be honest, they're the only two teams I think that Leeds fans really hate. Like, there's other ones we're not particularly keen on, but they're the only two that I think actively dislike. You know, the other guys may disagree, you know, but they're the only two that I'm really bothered about.
I mean, we always see the Sheffield clubs and Hull, you know, Chris, having a go, and Bradford perhaps when, you know, Leeds are wobbling and stuff. But actually, it's fair to say as a Leeds fan, you don't really care, I'm guessing, too much. Really see that as a rivalry. Is Chelsea Leeds more of a rivalry than, you know, Sheffield Wednesday and Leeds is?
Yeah, I would say I 100% agree with Sam there. And I think, you know, it's one of those ones where I think we look at Leeds Chelsea as a view to how, you know, the Sheffield clubs may look at Sheffield Leeds. I think we view that rivalry as really important to us. I just think the stature of the clubs, and I just think it's like the Sheffield clubs, the Huddersfield, the Hulls, the Bradfords, like local proximity, I suppose, they're rivalries, of course, but I think, you know, they're not as important to us as they would be for the other clubs.
Cool. Love to know your thoughts on this. Let us know in the comments. Still to come this week, with it being Valentine's weekend, we're asking who was the first ever Leeds player that you fell in love with as a young Leeds fan. We'll get the panel's view on all of that in a second. But since we last spoke to you, the transfer window has slammed shut. Chris and Sam, you were talking about this last week and hoping some more might come through the door. How do you think the club did overall, Sam, for you, if you were to rate it out of 10?
Well, we've got one player, and he seems to have fallen out with the manager. He wasn't even in the squad on Friday night, so I'd have to rate it about 2 out of 10. You know, if nobody gets injured, we're good. But I keep on saying that if DCL gets injured, we could have a problem because Mitch is injury prone and he's not as good anyway. It might be like last year when we didn't strengthen and we got away with it. I would just feel a bit happier if we even had a loan in just as cover.
Okay. Jacob, any advance on 2?
1. Yeah, I think Leeds never like to do business in January. And if it is, it'll be a couple of players. It won't be anything like the summer. And I think we could have strengthened if we wanted to, but we haven't. And we, like Sam said, we've got a player in, and he wasn't even in the squad. He wasn't even injured. He just wasn't even selected. So it is a waste and it is a worry. But luckily, we're in a good position, and I think a position which people wouldn't have expected us to be in. So that's the positive that we can take.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, 1 for all the reasons they said, really. I mean, we've brought in one player. Farks hinted that he wanted others in press conferences. He did that in the summer as well. We haven't got anyone else in. As Sam said, DCL, you know, 1 injury to him, we lose 10 goals, which is massive. And I do think one of the reasons we didn't strengthen is purely because Peru's like adamant to stay at the club. Which I understand from his perspective. He wants to be in the Prem, but I don't think he's going to play at all. Maybe a bit part. And I think, you know, we very much operate a 1 in 1 out policy. And I think him staying meant that we weren't going to sign another striker to have 4 in the team. So let's hope it doesn't backfire. But yeah, very disappointing.
Could you have gone and looked at a goalkeeper as well for you, Chris, or not?
I mean, I would have loved to look at a goalkeeper, but I do understand why the club haven't. They've spent however much they spent on Perry. They've got Darlow. They've got the other 2. I don't think we need 5 keepers. I think it's a priority for summer, definitely. But I think we've got enough about us to get through this. I don't think it was as big a priority as another striker.
Okay. If you haven't yet done so, it'd be great for you to drop us a sub. There's loads of other Leeds United podcasts, very good ones, of course, as well, which are 50, 60 minutes, 70 minutes. But if you can squeeze another 20 minutes of listening to Leeds opinions into your lives, we very gratefully drop a sub and a quick like as well, turn your notifications as well. Every Monday at 6 o'clock, these three get together and give their views on all Leeds United's games. It's Valentine's weekend, Jacob, so I'm sure you're getting all those cards to your door as you fight to get to the game. But it's got us thinking, who in your lifetime is the first player that you ever fell in love with as a young Leeds fan?
It was Pablo Hernandez. For me, joined in, I think it was 2016-17. Hopefully I've got that right. And yeah, I just think from that goal at Cardiff he scored, he whipped it off the post. I was there. And from then on, up until the title-winning season in 1920, even after that in the Premier League, he's just a brilliant player to watch. Playing as a midfielder as myself in Sunday League, I tried to replicate some of that, but it never was like him. But yeah, he was just remarkable. So yeah, Pablo Hernandez for me.
Great. Sam, what about you, going a little bit further back than as a young Leeds fan?
I'll be giving my age away. Alan Clark, tremendous finisher. Possibly the best, certainly that I can remember. Him. The forwards are always more glamorous than the midfielders and defenders, aren't they?
Did you ever get to meet him at all?
No, unfortunately not. I've met quite a few players over the year. Many years ago, was over actually. John Charles was still around. Was at a game at Leeds up in one of the lounges, and him and Bobby Collins were there. And of course, one man was absolutely enormous, the other one was absolutely tiny, but they were best friends. But okay. I suppose John Charles is one of these ones that there's not really any film of him, so that this is a correct use of the term legend. You just know about how good he was by word of mouth.
What about you, Chris? Any players that were on your posters on your bedroom walls as a kid or anything like that?
I think for me, Beckford and Becchio were two when I was about 10, 11, 12, and they were running right in the lower leagues. They were absolutely fantastic. A great partnership as well. I loved everything about them.
Yeah. Did you have Beckford on the back of your shirt as a kid?
I had Becchio.
Okay. Less letters, cheaper. Right, Bill. Right. Let us know in the comments who for you it was as well. Have any of you had your heart broken by a Leeds player, like a lone player that you thought? Who any of you?
Yeah, Kyle Bartley.
Okay.
I really wanted him to sign. Really wanted him to stay. And I was absolutely devastated when he didn't.
I mean, I would have loved Ben White to stay, but
okay.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments who has broken your heart as a Leeds player. Finally, then this week our A to Z rocks on to letter O. Tricky one, this one potentially. It depends. Let's see what we've got. Anyone got a suggestion for the letter O?
The only one that actually can remember is Brendan Ormsby during the 80s. Not really a huge player during those years, but one of our lower league stalwarts.
Okay, that's one. Any more?
I'm gonna have to go for the legend that is Noah Okafor after his stellar performance.
Of course.
That might.
How have we got to this? Right? Sure.
Yeah.
Come on, if there's anyone watching this, you must have other. We must be missing some legends somewhere.
Surely.
We must be. Let us know in the comments. Otherwise, I think Okafor's going to have to go into the Leeds United all time.
Well, here's one I'm not sure whether he played for us. So did O'Leary come as a player before he became Graham's assistant? I can't remember.
Gonna have to look that up, aren't we? Bowing down to superior knowledge there. Let us know in the comments who should get in for O. Right, better homework prep next week for P then. Fingers crossed on that one. We'll also bring you how we've done, of course, in the midweek game this week at Chelsea and, of course, against Birmingham City on Sunday as well. Fingers crossed for both. Thank you very much for watching. Do drop us a sub if you haven't done so already. We'll catch you in 7 days' time. Have a great week. Fingers crossed. Should be nice 2 straightforward wins. Catch you this week.
Well,